There's something almost ethereal to being told you can do anything you want, almost like you're trying to recapture that childlike sense of wonder, where what's possible is endless, what's right in front of you, fresh. When video games were restricted to going from point A to point B, the mind gets curious when the thought of an open world could open up more options than there are letters in the alphabet. I think that's the wonder created when the third dimension breaks free of its 2D constraints. A gateway drug into imagination that can go on forever. And that's what Grand Theft Auto tried to sell us on. No longer were we defined by actions the game wanted from us, but the game is defined by the actions we choose to do. Or that's what the whispers through the grapevines had me believe as I was venturing out of high school with a copy of GTA 5 on my Xbox 360. The promise of a world that reacts to the player, where our decisions could shape the stories we tell to our friends by the blacktop, arguing about who's telling the truth or just making stuff up for clout, that our adventure unfolded differently for taking the road less traveled, for better or for worse. Like me failing a mission because an NPC wouldn't let my escort character get in the car with me. And what the F was that explosion during this cutscene?
Dangerous mission impersonating emergency service.
Why is there a giant plane outside the house? What even happened here? I didn't even do anything to cause this to happen. Grand Theft Auto opened Pandora's box when it promised us boundless freedom with an open world, creating a trend I feel most games fail at, prioritizing empty size comparisons with no density and meaningful content. Thankfully, they did deliver overall with their 5th numbered game, for the most part at least. Los Santos is packed to the brim with fun enough content, but that's where the promises end. The main story missions still feel constrained by the same linearity of games past. While the walls have been broken open, its barriers simply became invisible, punishing you for not following the script. And just what was that script trying to tell us? Michael, Brad, and Trevor did a robbery that set him up for life, but his friends were hurt in the crossfire. Michael had to change his identity and start a new life, using Brad's body to frame his own death. His son, Jimmy's car was being repossessed and he held Franklin at gunpoint to drive it through the window of his job, leaving this employee of the month bum now jobless. In return, offers him an opportunity for drinks so he can set him up straight and out of the ghetto. But once things die down, Michael finds his wife cheating with her tennis coach, chasing him down and tearing down his home. Only it wasn't his home. Nah. A house on a mountain hill is far too luxurious for a lousy tennis instructor. It belonged to the all-powerful Mr. Madrazo, who was a legitimate businessman, accused of running a Mexican gang with a narcotics ring. But he was proven innocent when they somehow magically disappeared without any real drama. Now he needs to make some millions in order to pay back the damages he caused. He gets his old tech geek buddy Lester to help him pull off a heist that will clear his debt. The best part of it all, he can get Franklin involved so he can start living that Hollywood lifestyle just like he does. It's that Franklin's a hood rat and the team you decide on don't trust in his abilities just yet. For every heist, you get to decide the best approach and what teammates to hire. The better the ally, the bigger their cut. So plan wisely if you want to make the most out of your profits. And picking the wrong person for the job can get them killed, as the ones that survive gain more experience for future heists. At the end of the day, his efforts with Franklin and Lester have been smooth sailing. That is until
says something like, you forget thousands of things every day. We'll make sure this is one of them.
It's been nearly 10 years. I grieved for you! You were my best friend.
One of the main gimmicks of GTA 5 is the ability to switch characters during gameplay, whether that be mid-mission for a different perspective on the mission, their special ability, or just during the open world where Rockstar was able to brag about the seamless transition between characters all the way back in 2013. Man, has it already been 13 years since this game came out? I'm getting old. I didn't even have my driver's license back then, and ever since learning to drive, open world maps have been a whole lot less confusing to navigate through. Just stay in the right lane like the uncultured American I am. The coolest part is being able to alternate between characters during heists, as each character plays a different role during these missions. You even switch to Lamar's dog, Chop, to catch people sent for a story mission. I just wish they utilized Chop more for the campaign, but you can call him to follow you around, play fetch, and attack people for funsies. What's kind of fun, but honestly not something I utilize at all besides to get clips for this video, are the special abilities. Michael gets the John Woo bullet time, which is self-explanatory. You slow down time so you can aim better. Franklin gets the same but for his cars. An interesting buff while in this mode is that the traction of the car changes, making the tires always fully gripping the road so you can be in full control while pushing its oversteer capabilities farther than possible without it. This makes it so you can zip to unnatural angles with the press of 2 buttons and fully stabilize the car during and after you activate it. Trevor gets an adrenaline fueled rampage that lets his bullets hit extra hard as he doesn't have to reload while being nearly invincible. When you're not indulging this crazy triangle of events of our 3 protagonists, there are events like stopping a crime, picking up hitchhikers, calling to make therapy appointments, etc, etc. And if you want a little bit of extra character sprinkled in your playthrough, you can call someone to check in on them after a mission that involved them, or just ask to hang out and chill. The map is pretty huge, so if you don't feel like driving, feel free to take a cab. You can pay a little extra to fast travel, but I think it's more fun to bring out your phone and browse the internet. They have some cool websites that flesh out the world, start certain side missions, things you can buy, and full-on episodes of original shows here. The side missions are called Strangers and Freaks. While they're kind of okay by today's standards, at the time, they were quite monumental for having a decent amount of story cutscenes for an optional objective. They are worth doing as they add backstory to characters like Franklin's friends from the hood needing him to bust them out of trouble. Beverly gets Franklin to help him get naughty videos of pop stars, and a guy convincing people to take a toke, resulting in different outcomes depending on the character. Michael sees aliens, Trevor relives his childhood trauma of clowns. I mean, who isn't afraid of them? And Franklin's just like, what the fuck? This stuff whack. It doesn't affect him at all. Trevor helps Nigel and some girl kidnap a famous person to keep as a pet, but when he doesn't comply, they tell you to get rid of him. You can choose to keep him alive or not, but I feel Trevor totally would get him crushed by a train. Agreed, there's too many of them for me to go over, but some of the best only activate under certain conditions that aren't obvious, so you are rewarded for actually exploring Los Santos and its nooks and crannies. Just don't forget to look and respond to your text messages. Texting Franklin's ex lets you get a fuller picture of his failed relationship, where she tells him to move on. She wants a clean, comfortable life, and the hood just doesn't provide that kind of life for her. She has that now, and after your first heist, Franklin gives her a phone call that he's got money now. But for Tanisha, it ain't about the money. And this is what he thinks is what's important to her. Then it's clear they're on the wrong page of what they want out of a relationship. Side missions can be uncovered by following the clues on your phone too. Cheat codes and Easter eggs reside here also. Speaking of, who is this Franklin guy anyway? He's kind of a blank slate, personality wise. He doesn't really stand out, just a straight edge who's good at what he does. Only problem is, no matter the hard work he puts in, he still lives in the ghetto with his aunt. All he wants is to escape the hood life, but his closest friend, Lamar, keeps him in the gang banging scene. Lamar is absolutely hood. He can't keep a normal 9 to 5. It bores him, and he doesn't have the audacity to kiss ass to keep himself employed. I can kind of relate to that, to be honest. Prioritizing making sure his friends and family are taken care of with the drug money he makes. So with that kind of operation, he's often getting him into trouble that would easily result in him getting killed if Franklin wasn't there to save his bum. Despite his presence being a bit muted, his screen time relegated to a reactive character to his friends' hijinks with no deep internal motivation on his end. Franklin is a bro, always responding when someone is in need. When Jimmy needs some advice, he offers it to him. Sadly, it doesn't happen too often, but there are a few times he becomes a bit of a mentor to Jimmy as Michael's too busy to father him. Because Michael's too busy focusing on getting that paycheck he believes will keep him and his family happy, but that money has Jimmy spoiled. He's never had to get a job his entire life. Just stays up in his room all day arguing with his family to leave him alone as he shoots some noobs in Call of Duty. I don't actually know what the game is called in the game, but sounds funny enough, right? This clearly disappoints Michael enough to burst into his room to tell him to get out there and make something of himself. But his daughter, Tracy, isn't doing much better herself. She's out having parties and getting it down in Bangtown with men that have a reputation behind them. Something Michael vehemently disapproves of. Tracy doesn't have Michael involved in her life, so she seeks the approval of older, more powerful men by using her body to get them to like her. but it's due to her little brother snitching that she's often saved from situations that would go bad real fast. His wife Amanda is unhappy. Money didn't bring her happiness. She's constantly trying to find meaning and serenity, and seducing the men she hires to help her achieve such things. Her actions constantly inviting the rage Michael carries, but that rage is also inwards. Even when he's made it, he's still unhappy. The hedonistic life hasn't made him happy. So he uses that money of his to hire a really expensive therapist, but price and quality don't have a positive relationship in this domain. These are optional, but every now and again you have the option of visiting to vent about what's been transpiring, even giving you the choice to either agree or disagree with his assessment of calling you not only a sociopath, but a psychopath? Dang, doc. You asked for Michael to pay by cash due to insurance problems, and you can cut Michael's words short to say time's up just because you don't want to listen to him anymore? Like, what a fraud. Like, I'd demand my money back if I was him. The only person Michael can count on is the only one he has no close emotional ties to, and that's Lester, the tech geek who used to be part of his old crew with Trevor. Lester will only help out after Michael does what he wants, like infiltrating a corrupt phone company and blowing up their product during a live presentation. Lester primarily gives missions to him and Franklin to take down those in power who are corrupt, and a chance to sway the stock market with their passing if you catch my drift. But even though they were never too close, he still feels neglected since Michael went radio silent since the heist to abandon Trevor, the man everyone believes is a psychopath, who is supposed to be dead according to our other dead guy, Michael. He just loves to smash people's faces in and shoot them, literally being reintroduced to us by kicking the brains out of the GTA 4 DLC protagonist, Johnny from The Lost and Damned. He has two lackeys that do his bidding for Trevor Industries, where he makes his living selling meth in the desert. While he's off trying to make bank from the Chinese, his minions are looking for the ghost of his past and send him on his way to confront Michael for the pain and turmoil he's caused them. Despite his rage being out in full display, he's also a softie on the inside. For one, he absolutely cherishes Michael's kids, and you get a clear view of how much of a dependable, caring person Uncle Trevor can be when he walks back into their lives. None of them are afraid of Trevor at all. In fact, they know without a doubt in their minds that Uncle Trevor would do anything to protect them, dragging Michael along with them as they save Tracy from making an ass of herself on public television on Fame or Shame. Once the hints that Michael's still alive are making their rounds, more old friends begin popping up. A Federal Investigations Bureau member, or FIB agent, I see what you guys did there, tells Michael he owes them for their past together. You see, they don't have clean hands and they need Michael to make sure no one finds out they've been sticking their finger in places it shouldn't be. And while all this is happening, Michael is being the good guy by pleading to Franklin to get the hell out of town. Dangerous men are coming back into his life and he doesn't want him to get sucked into this mess. While Franklin appreciates the word of warning, that heist they just pulled made him some serious bank, the kind of paper he'd never see in any normal job. That's enough for him to trust Michael. No explanations needed. He's got his back. But the FIB doesn't just want Michael in their undercover scheme. They're blackmailing all three of them to take care of business together, dropping you into elaborate missions where you have to switch between all three in real time to team up together and steal their target they need interrogated. When they're not being coerced into helping, Lester gets Franklin in on some assassinations to get him paid and the world a better place. They don't do much for the story, but they are mandatory. I think I've heard you can skip them, but every time I've played this game, I've always done them, so I'm not entirely sure. This gets Franklin and Lester to be more than just co-workers, but not quite lovers. Don't go that far. Just friends, you know, homies. Michael's doing some yoga until Mr. Yogi here has got his wife backing up into his pelvis, causing him to go nuts, but, you know, who can blame him? And as someone who's done Tai Chi in real life, I'm not too bothered by the yoga minigame. I hear people hate this section because it brings the game to a screeching halt, but I don't mind it. But I will say it does go on for quite a bit. When Amanda elopes with Fabian, he tries to reconnect with his family members, but Jimmy gets him drugged and makes a run for it, waking up to being abducted by aliens until they launch him out of his ship as he starts tripping, getting home to the bad news that his family doesn't feel safe with his angry outbursts. They're going away to where they don't have to be on edge by walking on eggshells around him. Sadly, teddy bears don't lay eggs as Trevor gets his PP into one to send a message to Floyd, one of his lackeys, Wade's brother, who he threatened to let him stay in Los Santos. Pissed a guy like him is simping over some loser who can afford to sugar mama over him. She ain't even purty, so why the F is he being so whipped? Floyd blames his subservience on a lack of luck with women as to why he stays with her. His PP too small to get any other girl according to him. But that's just a load of baloney. Trevor whips his out to show him it ain't about the size that matters, but how you use it. Like damn, confidence in this man. He gets Floyd to bust him into his work so he can take some pictures for our next heist. While he's planning all of this, the FIB gets him and Michael to take out their next target, but they don't know what he looks like or where he is. This is where Trevor comes in with his handy dandy torture tools, ripping his teeth out and drowning the guy we captured earlier for information. All the while Michael learns of how the FIB have been pretending to be Brad to write Trevor from jail so he doesn't catch wind of what's really happening. Or rather, happened. Past tense. I read my script wrong. I don't feel like re-voicing that. The hood is visited by Trevor as he tries to make friends with Franklin and his homies, introducing himself as someone charitable with the, $7? I guess that's something. But how's Franklin's aunt supposed to treat herself with some pocket change? Man, that guy sure knows how to pull a bait and switch. But at least he's sincere, unlike Stretch, who strings along Lamar on a drug deal, and Trevor's smart mouth wins him over. But most importantly, it was Trevor who was able to figure out Lamar was being swindled in his deer by that mother effer Stretch, resulting in a hood shootout with the cops chasing after them by speedboat. Trevor wants to make some dough by stealing a nuke to sell to the Chinese, except Lester says the authorities would be hot on their trail with a weapon of mass destruction in their hands. His heart was in the right place, but his mind was oblivious of the potential consequences. The only reasonable thing to do is to get rid of it unless he wants all eyes on them. As Michael gets one more FIB job done, he bumps into Devin Weston, who has ties to this Solomon movie guy. Solomon gets Michael to teach an acting snob a lesson, getting him to be part of his next movie. Devin asks the crew to steal some exotic rides for him, and it's deja vu as Franklin notices it's like he's gone full circle. Before, he was boosting cars for scraps. Now he's doing the same thing, just for a bigger paycheck. Things sure haven't changed no matter how much of the social ladder he ascends. And for Michael, Solomon is like what Michael is to Franklin. The chance to escape the life he hates for the life he wants, and inspiration to start over into something better, a person to give his life some goddamn meaning for once. Before we get too suckered up in our aspirations, Madraza wants Michael to take out his cousin who's got evidence of his illegal activities, and plans to provide them to the FIB. They supply him with a high-powered cannon as Trevor chases him down for the kill. It's a favor of good fate to Michael, but to Trevor, it's just another job, and because it's another working opportunity for him, he wants to be fairly compensated for his actions. Sounds reasonable, right? So what does our crazy heart of bronze do? Well, he steals Madrazo's wife, who he assumes hasn't been able to conceive a child, based on the fact they have fraternity statues all over the house. Bonus points for her being such a cutie pie. With her abduction, Madrazo won't be too happy to find out his woman has been kidnapped by the men he hired to clean up after him. So the best thing for the two of them to do is to use the desert to conceal their location to cool off their heat. Meanwhile, Franklin sneaks into a movie shoot to steal a souped-up car with spikes and ejecto seats for Devin Weston. The bad part is, Lamar catches wind of Franklin's new payroll and wants a cut of that paper. It really is full circle with Lamar jumping in the frame and being a part of the picture again. Franklin doesn't want him here as he's a liability, and he doesn't want Lamar getting hurt. But nothing he says can convince him otherwise, so he chooses peace by not arguing against his old friend. And Devin is stoked. Their personalities mesh as he gushes about Lamar's gangsta enthusiasm. Now he has Franklin for the brains and Lamar for the spirit. Because the desert is getting our good buddy Trevor bored out of his mind, he decides to crash his own plane into a bigger plane to steal the Merryweather goods, his weapons and cash galore until air traffic control shoots him down and he has to abandon the whole ordeal. He recoups his excitement with a bank heist lookout. It's just strange that the police are awfully protective of this place. One little trip of the alarm and they're swarming the place in a second. They've got to be protecting the good stuff here. It excites Trevor for a race back home to plan out what to do next with the boys. The next thing to do is take care of the O'Neill brothers, who Franklin is hot on the trail of as he phones Trevor of their schemes to get him. What a true bro, unlike Michael. Franklin barely knows the guy and already he's making sure his homie is safe. With the years they have together, Michael is still looking out for only number one, himself. Instead of asking how he can help his friend get out of trouble like Franklin is, Michael simply tells him it's none of his business. But if he was truly so heartless, he wouldn't catch a ride with Trevor to clean up whatever mess he's gotten himself into. Now that the three of them are at least willing to have each other's back in a pinch, they suit up in their armor as they pull off the bank heist, shooting and ramming their way through military tanks and escaping on the nearest train out of there. If a wallop of cash isn't a sign of a job well done, then I don't know what is. But greed knows no bounds as Trevor asks for Michael to help him steal the precious cargo on the Merryweather train, taking his bike out for a spin to take control as Michael gets a boat for their escape. But what they find is some weird ancient artifact. Trevor wants to keep it for himself since it was his idea to derail this train in the first place. But Michael has an even better idea. He can give it to Madrazo as an apology for kidnapping his wife. But Trevor refuses until Michael offers to help him take down the Union Depository if he agrees. The FIB isn't quite done with them yet as Michael is forced to go underwater to steal a chemical weapon that can cause an apocalypse in the wrong hands. When FIB backup arrives, Agent Steve Hines shoots himself in the foot as a distraction to help them escape. With tears in his eyes and heartbreak in his throat, Trevor swallows his pride as he returns Patricia to her husband. And the cutest part of all, he'll occasionally receive a phone call from her throughout the game, her voice shrouded by uneven trails of silence as she musters the courage to tell Trevor she misses him, but she's a married woman. Her duty is to her husband, not to love. What they have is forbidden. Trevor decides to visit Floyd and finally meets his girl, Deborah, who's all hysterical and mentions another man. Everyone screaming in each other's ears, giving no chance for anyone to get the microphone on stage for themselves. The screen fades to black as Trevor takes way to the strip club covered in red syrup. Michael and Lester join in to tell Franklin about how they're going to end their off-the-record ways in a bang. No, we may be in a strip club, but they don't mean a gangbang. Gah, get your head out of the gutters, man. Nasty. The heist they've always wanted. The big one. Mountains of gold-plated bars for the picking. No more money trouble for the rest of their lives. With all of this excitement about a better future, Trevor wants to share this joy with Brad. All he's got to do is bust him out of jail. Plus, it'll make their heist easier. Brad's an old buddy. Why wouldn't he want him back? Well, with Michael dodging the question, it's awfully suspicious, causing Trevor to fly over to Michael's grave only to find a corpse of his dear friend Brad. The Chinese ambush Trevor for revenge, but he's able to escape, but not before they mistake Michael for his gay lover. I mean, they lived together for a bit with Patricia as the maid, chilled at Michael's expensive house together with no one else home. So of course they're doing the dirty, knocking him out to lure his gay lover out as bait. Molly asks Trevor, Franklin, and Lamar for their help with a truckload of vehicles for Devon, using the spikes and blasters of the high-tech movie car to get the cops off their trail. With the possibility of being caught, Devon hightails it out of there, but only after his secretary tells Franklin his payment will be distributed at a later date after they invest in some stocks. He should be excited. They're getting paid more than they're offered because of the interest they're going to make off from it. So basically, they got robbed. With contact from Michael going cold, Franklin seeks reassurance from Trevor, but he just gives him the old slipperoo before checking in with Lester. Using his hacking skills, he tracks Michael's phone. The Chinese have him in chains and he's gotta bust him out of there. With Michael back in action, he goes to see what's up with Solomon, having to save him in the process. With his due diligence, he's made an associative producer on the film, phoning Amanda that he's finally doing something with his life. He's making a movie, which is excellent news. He can tell his family he's finally doing something good with his life and not just letting his anger bury another person 6 feet under. And with that, even better news follows him. Lester tells him the FIB wants one final score before he gets his freedom. They're infiltrating the FIB itself to clean evidence of Steve Haynes and Dave Norton doing things under the table, and alongside it, the past crimes of Michael's. But first he needs to steal the ID of a janitor to go in all incognito, using his disguise to plant bombs inside the FIB building. And yes, you have to mop the floors to make sure no agents get suspicious of you. Once all the explosives are lit, Franklin and your crew infiltrate the building as firemen to steal the files to wipe away all the dirt they have on Michael and the shady FIB agents. But talk is cheap as they call Michael again just to demand he tie up loose ends. This time, Michael puts his foot down. He's done. Actually, everyone's done. Every group so far in the game is here to tie up loose ends as they pull a gun on one another. Trevor plays the reluctant hero as he comes in to save Michael from being shot dead. He hates his guts, but that'll be his hands on the trigger when it's the right time. Ain't no way anyone else will get the honor of putting Michael in a casket but him. They aren't the only ones putting their friendship to the test as Franklin's ex comes to ask him to save Lamar. Even if he hood, he's still a friend. While she may have left the hood life, she never abandoned her friends like Franklin's doing to keep his peace. A life of riches may be nice, but it doesn't have any purpose without good people in it. And that's what Franklin needs to remember. So he ends up calling the very same people who gave him a new purpose in life. He usually puts up with Michael and Trevor's bickering, but he has no time to be playing peacekeeper between the two. Lamar's safety is far too important for their petty squabble. When he's out of harm's way, Lamar asks for some cash, only to be met with disappointment as Franklin barely gives him any paper despite being all Hollywood now. So he pays him with a word of advice. Lamar could have a better life if he stopped trying to be so gangsta. Clean himself up as it takes being a professional to become a professional. On his way out, Haynes tells him to kill Trevor. He's too chaotic to keep under control, but he doesn't want to. Trevor is none of his business outside being his friend and colleague. His unpredictability isn't his problem. What becomes even more unpredictable is Molly stealing Michael's movie so Devin can close down the movie studio, and mayhem unfolds as police cars are blown away by plane engines as he chases her. She goes all mad until she finds peace when the propeller sucks her into the afterlife, putting a grudge on Michael's back. You can visit his therapist one last time, which is ultimately unfruitful as he just reiterates how deranged Michael is and that he will be needing a new therapist because he's going to be on TV and with all the stories he can tell about his clients. Names changed to protect their anonymity, of course. He's going to be rich and famous, but with all the dirt about Michael's secret identity, murders, and heists, it carries too big of a risk. A bullet for the shrink is the only right answer. With his secret safe and the promise of his family being present, Michael's excited for the premiere of this movie. Jimmy rolls in style by getting drunk on top of their limo to see Meltdown, but Devin threatens his wife and daughter as they hightail it out of the theater into his home before his men get out of hand. When one major component checks off his bucket list, it's time for the big score. I got Michael to make some noise so they take their sweet time catching Franklin drilling a hole underground so he and his heist buddy can pack up the gold. It's the final mission, so I finally chose to go out in a bang of style instead of secret. Trevor takes his planes out to transport the gold away, and with the success of the big one, this should be it for our heroes. But there are still loose ends. Hines still wants Trevor dead, but now Devin tells Franklin to kill Michael if he knows what's good for him. You do get to decide on who lives and who dies, but the canon ending is to keep everyone alive, gathering the boys together for our final mission. With their life on the line from an all-out attack, Trevor and Michael have to put their beef aside to make sure Franklin and Lamar make it out of alive. And Trevor gets confirmation that Michael does actually give a damn about him. When Trevor's radio goes silent, Michael actually panics and goes searching for him. When they've escaped the ambush, the gang take out every leader that's out to get them. The ballers who've been double-crossing Lamar and Franklin, the Chinese who want Trevor's head, and Hines' FIB grip on Michael, ending with the kidnapping of Devin Weston and our three protagonists pushing him off a cliff in the trunk of his car. And that's it. Maybe I'm media illiterate, but I can't seem to find no real meaning to the ending, I don't think. Trevor does ask to continue their friendship despite all their bad blood, something he definitely values. His entire thesis in this game is being a stand-up guy for the people he cares about, despite his adamant rage being the personality he brings front and center. Don't judge a book by its cover, basically. Franklin wondering if they continue to commit crimes to maintain their new lifestyle of living, won't they be no better than Devin Weston? Well, hypocrisy is civilization's finest virtue, according to Michael anyways. Don't think too hard about it or you'll get a guilty conscience, something you could be struggling with depending on how you answer your interrogations in therapy. claiming that although he hates himself, now he knows how to verbalize those feelings, an issue Trevor doesn't have. He already has the words to communicate what an asshole Michael is without any psychobabble. Self-assurance, you gotta love it. Something Michael needs since he's unhappy with riches not being the answer to keeping his family or his sanity together. And yeah, I don't really get the point of all this besides being a fun video game. What I'm trying to say is, maybe it is all that deep if you put your thinking caps on. Compare our heroes to the id, ego, and super ego, you goddamn nerd. And I don't know why the curtains are blue, Mrs. Cabbage. We say blue when we're sad, but like, what if they just like the color blue and there was no deeper meaning to any of those choices? Do other languages say blue when they're sad? Green traffic lights means go in the West, but in Japan it's blue because they didn't consider green its own color, and pink is considered kinda gay in America, but it's manly in the Philippines. Does anything that comes out of my mouth actually mean something besides being random noise that people are offended by? And why do you have to my evaluation say I'm sexually repressed? Do I not understand the game because I'm not getting any pussy?
These were the opportunities I had. At least I took them.
And where did these opportunities get you, Michael?
They got me right fucking here.
Oh yeah, 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 oh yeah. Hey there, what you drinking? 2 shots, let's pour it out. I know what you're thinking, but tomorrow won't come for us. This life that we're living, ain't never gonna give it up. Double shot for the gifted, and one more for us. There you go, drink it up. All this love in a cup. Yeah, we go slow, we go fast. Yeah, we can't get enough. We stay all day, all night, living in paradise. Remember, you don't get it twice. The time of your life. This is the time of your life. Remember, you don't get it twice. The time of your life. Don't look at the past, no, we're not going that way. Oh, now make it last, make it last to the break of day. No matter what people say, live life in a fast lane. Double shot for the gifted, triple shot for the pain. There you go, drink it up, all this love in a cup. Yeah, we go slow, we go fast. Yeah, we can't get enough. We stay all day, all night, living in paradise. Remember, you don't get it twice. The time of your life.
The end of the road, with a big house and a useless kid, and I'm stuck talking to you because no one else gives a shit. Oh, I'm living a dream, baby. And that dream is fucked. It is fucking fucked.
Yeah, you like that, don't you, huh? Take it off.
Get the fuck off!